In the second video, we're going to continue through this project guide, Getting Started with GUIs, and we're going to learn how to create a text box widget, and then we'll learn how to create button widgets. So in this next part, what we're going to do is make this little text box appear on our app, and then we're going to learn how we can use it for our with our user, let them kind of input some kind of information that we do something with. So let's open our Thonny window again. And we need to start by adding text box to our import. So we're now going to import text box so that we can use that. And then we're going to create our widget by adding, I'm going to add it right after our welcome message here. And we're calling this my name because in this project guide, they're going to have the user input their name, and then we're going to use their name. We're going to display their name. So my name equals text box on our app. All right, so a variable that's going to save whatever information we put into our text box. All right, now it also mentions, by the way, if you want, you can adjust the width of your text box by using the argument width. An argument is the modifiers that you put inside these parentheses here. So we could set our width to something if we want that text box to be longer or shorter or whatever. I'm just going to go with the default today. Okay, now let's integrate our push button here. Actually, let's run a quick test and just see what that looks like. The text box should show up if we did everything right, but it's not going to do much yet. So there it is right there. It doesn't do anything quite yet, but this is where somebody could type in some information. We're going to give them a prompt with our button press next. So next page, push button widget. So we need to now import push button so that we can use that. So back up on line 1 with your imports, add that to your list of imports. Okay. And then the way this works is we're going to create a function that's going to tell our button what to do. In this case, in this example again, we're going to take the name that our user types into this text box, and then we're going to display it. So they're creating a function called Say My Name. We're going to put it up here at the top, and we first create a function by defining it. So DEF, and then whatever you want to name your function. Remember, a function is packaging a set of code, some information, or excuse me, some instructions that we want to be able to use. And this is going to replace our welcome message. So we're going to replace the welcome message with whatever gets typed into my name. And I'm just going to leave a note up here to remind us that what we just did here was define a function. Okay, now let's go down and use that. So we're going to create our button. We already imported it. And now we're going to use our button. So here, I'm going to try to highlight this. This is where we're creating the button. Here is how we're going to identify our button. In this case, though, they're using update text. So what this means is create a button, do these things, and then change the welcome message text. So it's a little bit different than the way we're going to do it next, but let's just use this as an example for now. So update our text, update our welcome message with push button on our app. Command equals. So now this is where we're telling the button what we want it to do. And what we want it to do is call this function. So the command is going to be say my name. That's the function we made. And then text equals is what it's going to read, what the button is actually going to be labeled with. Okay, let's see if we got all of that. Looks good. Scroll down a bit, but I think we already included everything, so it should end up doing something like this. Let's take a look. Okay, run. There's our app. The button is labeled display my name. And now this should be usable. Let's press the button. And there it goes. Great. Okay. Now, what would this look like if I wanted to use this to run my robot, for example? So if I'm on my Raspberry Pi, I need to make sure all in this same program, I'm going to import all my Explorer hat information, all my GUI Zero information. There we go. Now, instead of say my name, I need functions that are going to move my robot. So let's say I want to create 4 buttons: forward, backward, left, and right. So I might define a function for going forward. And then how does my robot go forward? With explorer hat.motor.1.forward. And I need my other motor. So now we're just using those same lines of code we used to program our robots before. I'm going to, I don't need this text box, so I'm going to hashtag that out. And I'm not going to be using this, so I'm going to hashtag that out. Instead, we're going to say that the button for, I'm going to just name this button forward equals my push button in the app. And the command I want the button to follow is this function up here called bot forward. Oops, no parentheses. And then I want to label my button so I know which button it is. I'm going to label it with the words forward. Okay. Now, because I'm not on a Raspberry Pi, this is not going to work right now. I can't use Explorer Hat. So I'm going to get a bunch of errors, but you should be able to test this now and see a button that pops up that says forward and will move your robot or your motors forward, right? I'll run a test here, but I have to hashtag these out to run my test. So I'm going to create something a little different just to test. Define bot forward, print going forward. Let's just see something like that. Okay, run. Let's see if I made any errors. I surely did. Where's my error? Line 6. Oh, whoops. I didn't hashtag these out. I'm putting the hashtag because I don't want the computer to read that line of code, but I don't want to delete it because I'm going to save it for later. So let's try again. Great, there we go. So there's my forward button. And if I press it, you can see down here the print outs that says going forward. So my test worked. Now again, as we wrap up this lesson on buttons, remember that for your Explorer hat, right, you're going to import your Explorer hat like you normally would. You're going to define a function with those Explorer hat commands in there. I'll delete this out. Okay. And you want your button, each button, to use a command for whatever the function name is, like this one up here.